All right, let's go ahead and get back to our guest tonight. Betsey Lewis is with us. Betsey, again, thank you so much for finding the time to be here, and thank you for stopping by and sharing your stuff with us.
Oh, thank you. It's always great to be on your show, Pat.
The we were talking before the news break again about people people kind of need to make some changes. You go out and you travel quite a bit. I was looking through, I want to thank you for all the notes and stuff, and I made a lot of notes here myself, some things we could talk about. Mm-hmm. These ships and planes that are vanishing. Now, of course, there's MH370, which they've never found anything yet for.
Right.
People are vanishing. Have you ever had the opportunity to meet or listen to David Paulides talk about all the people that vanish in the national parks?
I have. Isn't that eerie?
It is.
It's so strange. And some of these children that vanish, they find them on a mountain, like miles away.
Yeah.
How can that be explained?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that and some of the vortexes and stuff? Now, I've never been to Sedona. I've had Grant Cameron on the show a couple of times, and he, of course, he goes down to the big UFO festival in Phoenix every year, and then he makes his trip up to Sedona. He comes up through Salt Lake City and always gives a talk here. And he said that if you don't believe in things not of this world, go down to Sedona at night, lay back on the hood of your car, and look up in the sky. And if you don't see something, you must be blind.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've been to Sedona, but I didn't see anything. But I know the Four Corners area is full of UFO reports. So that whole area is amazing. But there are, I believe, vortexes, or if you want to call them portals or stargates or wormholes, whatever. I believe they're all over our planet. And there are stories of people that have actually gone into the past. They're walking down the street, and suddenly they're in the 1800s. I mean, they're viewing everything as if they're there. And suddenly they're transported back to the present day, and maybe people do get stuck in these time shifts or whatever they are.
What do you again, the human eye can only see we can only see 2% of the light spectrum. 2%. Mm-hmm. That's all we can see. It's got to be amazing what is around us, and what we sometimes define as dimensional or paranormal. It would be kind of fun to see the big picture. I think we've got to take a lot of it based on faith, but I think some people, like you said, are physically experiencing what we can't see.
I think so too, and I think a lot of these new children. I've talked to some of these new children that are coming in. Akiana, who's an amazing savant or genius type artist, and she remembered her life on the other side and talking to angels and everything. As she's gotten older, it's kind of faded that part of her life. But children now are very telepathic. Some of these new children, they remember past lives. They are so gifted in math and science, and it's they're old souls. I believe these old souls are coming back to help the earth right now, and we need a lot of help like these children.
Well, we do. Do you think these children of today are? Do you think these children of today are? Do you think they have a gift, or do you think they're just more open-minded, or do you think there's something there to help them? I don't know. I don't want to say an extra gene or an extra chromosome or something. Mm-hmm. But do you mm-hmm. think that there are some that are given a gift of some sort to be able to see things and experience things?
Oh, I think so. And children too can see spirits usually from the time they start talking, maybe around 3 years old. When I start seeing spirits until they're about 7, and then it starts fading because you get more you're part of the physical world, and you kind of forget that whole world unless you had parents that kind of helped you, and actually just encouraged you to believe in these things. Most family members are saying, like you said earlier, that it's their imagination. They're making it up. But I think they actually see spirits.
Well, I do too.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
I think that so many people, I think you always hear little kids talking about their imaginary friend. Well, it's just his imaginary friend. Well, I think in some cases they're not quite as imaginary as we think.
No, I don't think so either. And some of these children, I'm not saying all children are the indigo, what they call the indigo, the rainbow. They've been called crystal children, the new children. And, I do know they're there. They're just incredible children. In fact, I want to write about some of these children that I've talked to and some that I've heard on the news, too, because I think people need to know who these children are. And they're making changes in the world. They're inventing things. They're helping children in third world parties, thinking how they can get water to them and food to them, things that we wouldn't think, and they're just simple things. They're just brilliant children.
Yeah, they are. One of our listeners from the East Coast wrote in a question for you, Betsey. Durr writes and says, perhaps can Betsey talk a little bit about the Hopi and Navajo spirituality and their belief that they emerged from the earth?
Oh, okay. Well, I know the Hopi believe that, but also, I'm not really. I don't know that much about the Hopi. I know they have the Prophecy Rock, which tells right now where we're at. There's two roads that we can take, and it's up to us which one we're going to take. But I can tell you about the Aboriginals of Australia. They have a legend, and they believe this is true, that they came from a distant star that I guess was going through some cataclysmic thing. And they were more spirit form when they came to our planet Earth, and they saw that it needed a balancing, that it was out of balance. The energy grid around it was just out of balance, and so they created this balance for the Earth. And what they're saying now, because we're taking out the uranium, the gold, the oil, the water, that our whole planet is out of balance right now, and that's what's happening, that the energy grid is falling apart, and that's what we need to help it again, to stop all this mining and, removal of all the minerals. I mean, that's Mother Earth's lifeblood. And, it's just insane, the fracking that's going on, what we're doing. We're taking out the oil and gas, and we're putting in all this toxic stuff that's going into our aquifers. It's just crazy. But the Maya people, of course, they are very spiritual people, too, and they have had so much interaction with the sky people. And when I was in Belize a couple of times during the 90s, I went to some of these ancient temples in the rainforest. I went to Shu-Not-Chu-Ich, and I swam the Mopen River to get across because the ferry had stopped. My friend and I decided we were going to see this temple no matter what. And we were crazy. We swam this river. I don't know if there were snakes or what in it, but we did. We went across, and it was getting kind of late. The sun hadn't set yet, and we climbed up on one of the temples, and there was 4 men that showed up with machetes. We had no idea if we were, that they were going to kill us or what, but they were actually very friendly, and they said that they were the tour guides, they were the caretakers of the area, and the one Maya Indian gave us a tour of the area and said, he told me that there is a legend that their stones, these great big monolithic stones that they have there, were lifted. They could levitate them somehow. And I'd never heard this story. I've heard that about, the Great Pyramid and all. But to hear someone, an indigenous person say that they could do that was just mind-blowing to me.
Oh, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes wonder. I know there's a lot of people that will debate both sides, but how the Great Pyramids were built, I fully believe that something had to help. Had to help with the construction
Oh, I think
of
so
that
too.
time. I don't think they were capable of doing that. I could be
No,
wrong.
and
There's people say I'm wrong, but I believe
oh,
that there was some sort of assistance, even if maybe some force didn't come out of the sky. Maybe something that at least I don't know. Maybe gave them the insight to do it.
hmm well, it's interesting. We can't duplicate the Great Pyramid, and I think it's much older than what scientists have said. I think it's much older. I don't think it was Khufu's pyramid. I think it goes way back.
Yeah. No,
Don't you? Do you think it's older than what they say?
I don't know.
Yeah, I really feel that it is, and I think that the Egyptians don't want us knowing about some of the things that they've discovered there. I think there's a lot of secrets still there that are hidden, and there are caverns underneath that whole area, the Giza Plateau.
Right.
It's amazing.
Well, I think there's
there.
I think there's areas there that modern day man hasn't even walked in or seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right. Edgar Casey said that the Hall of Records about Atlantis are hidden underneath those things. So someday that's supposed to be found. But I've heard that there's been an excavation around the paw of those things, and maybe they found something. Who knows? They may not tell us ever if they did.
Well, I think there's a lot of things they find they just don't want to come out with it. I know in those pyramids they've run a lot of robots and drones and stuff through different areas and have taken tons of pictures of what I have no idea. But another question for you,
Yes,
is our good friend Sky from the Ohio area writes in and says, "Can Betsy speak a little about the Isle of Man and the Little People?"
well, there are legends about little people, fairies, leprechauns all over the world. And recently there was that finding of this little tiny person that looked like with a big head. Wasn't it Stephen Greer that had that? That finding?
Yeah.
Right. Large head that looked very alien-like. So I think there have been, not aliens, but I think these are spirits of the earth. They are the watchers, excuse me, of the earth, and they've been here forever. There are legends in South America, I think all over the world, of the little people. So I do believe they exist.
Well, and they're constantly. I know that L.A. Marzulli and his gang are always they're always looking for different things. I mean, they're looking for skulls. They actually come to Utah a couple times a year to do some excavating work. They go all over the globe and find some very, very interesting things. Although the skeptics again shoot it right down.
Right,
but,
right.
We find a lot of unique things. They find a lot of unique things.
Well, they found even giant skeletons throughout the United States, too,
Right.
supposedly. And that's been hushed up, too. Giants with red hair. Even in the Mojave Desert, there's legends of these giants that were found, mummies that were found in caverns, labyrinth of caverns underneath the Mojave Desert. And this goes back to the 1920s when miners were through that whole area. So it makes you wonder. There must be some truth there. And some of these geoglyphs, giant geoglyphs, like in the Nazca Plains, they have them in Mojave Desert. And there's one that's called the Twins. I think it's near Blythe, California. And these giant geoglyphs look like aliens, the Greys.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting, yes. And So I think, we've been visited by all kinds of, beings, for ages, thousands of years.
I was looking at your website, and I meant to ask you this. You've got on your Earth News, you've got a link on there to a interview with Michael Horn in Billy Meyer. I've had Michael Horn on the program.
Yes.
There's a lot of people talk about Billy Meyer. They're either on one side or the other. They're either
right.
Yes, the guy is correct, or he's a total fake. I mean, there's no. It seems like there's no common ground. I did enjoy talking with Michael. Thought he was very honest. What do you think about Billy Meyer? Billy Meyer seems to he tells. Mike, about all the things that have happened over the years. Do you think he's for real?
I do. I really do. I don't think he's lying. He's really controversial, but I think he is truthful. He's a one-armed man. He lost his arm.
Right.
And, what they said, for him to do all these special effects back, in the 50s, when there wasn't anything like that, and they say, well, he's holding some kind of thing and swinging it back and forth. I don't think so. I really don't. I've watched the documentary that Michael Horn produced, and there is stuff on there that probably most people haven't seen, and I'll tell you, it's pretty convincing. And some of these predictions that he's made, now a lot of them haven't come true yet, and hopefully they won't, because he's made some predictions about a huge mega earthquake off the coast of Oregon and San Francisco. But a lot of these predictions have come true that he's given. So he must be getting some kind of insight into the future by somebody or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. A lot of people say his pictures are controversial. I don't know. I thought, I guess at the end of the day, I don't think he's people that, unless they've got nothing better to do than to hoax. And
right.
You're an author, you do books. No one's becoming a millionaire off of it. And after a while, a hoax gets tiring too. I kind of, myself personally, I kind of believe he's truthful. I really do. And after talking with Michael for a couple hours, all he is just the messenger, if you will, to get the word out.
Right.
I don't know. I think the guy is somewhat legitimate.
I think so, too. He is living in the mountains of Switzerland.
Right.
He doesn't give interviews, unless, Michael goes over there to visit him.
Right.
And, he's had several, people have tried to assassinate him. I don't know how many times, and he's survived it. But I don't think I would. I'd want to continue doing it if I was, on the target list like he has been.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he is truthful. Because some of these other people, that have stories about UFO encounters and they were taken aboard and shown all these things, and there was alien women that looked gorgeous, and they had, there's just some incredible stories out there, and I think those type of people, if you look, just follow the money, follow what they're doing.
Yeah. I know, and again, it's just there's a couple out there that I don't know. I've interviewed a lot of them. I'll be real neutral. Our good friend Durhuff on the East Coast writes and says, let's go cryptid, Betsy. What's your thoughts on Bigfoot?
I think Bigfoot is real. I think Bigfoot has been around forever. There's the abominable snowman in the Himalayas that they've seen.
Right.
There's the skunk ape in the south. And, of course, Bigfoot, even the Indians have legends of Bigfoot. And, I think they are so smart, they know how to, I would think they're maybe even telepathic, that they are so smart, they know how to outwit us. They know what we're up to. But there's just been so much physical evidence of them. Hair, their sounds. They say it's the eeriest thing you've ever heard when they let out a noise. And the footprints. Now, I think some of them have been hoaxed, just like there's UFO hoaxes out there.
Sure.
Yeah. But I think that it does exist. I don't think, Indians would, have legends of them if they didn't exist. So there is some creature that I would say that is, who knows, maybe we're related to them. Maybe that is the missing link.
Well, and it seems lately, too, there's a lot more video footage and photos coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You still don't get that clear picture, but people are starting to film and take notice of out of the ordinary things lately.
Right.
And maybe
they are elusive, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, again, when you talk about, I've said this so many times, and I'll say it again, when you have the skeptics, until it's like the extraterrestrial or the UFO, until there's one sitting in the Air and Space Museum, you're going to have a good number of the population that just won't believe it exists.
Right. Yeah, well, and maybe they're dimensional beings, too. They can come and go from one dimension to another.
Yeah.
And they become physical when they come into our world, and then they disappear in their other world. And maybe that's why we haven't really found one or killed one, or I hope nobody goes out there and kills any of them. I really don't, you know. Yeah. That's all we want to do is, humanity wants to kill everything.
Yeah.
It's
go to
let's
war.
Learn what it is. No wonder the aliens don't want to communicate with us. That's always been our way.
So, what are some of your predictions? I know I was on your website tooling through it. What do you think is on our doorstep? What do you think is ahead for us?
Well, I believe the future. Now, this sounds like a cop-out, but it's not. I believe the future is malleable, and we can change things. I think so many predictions haven't come true. Edgar Cayce said there was going to be a shift of the Earth's axis at the beginning of 2000, and that hasn't happened. But I believe that we do create our own reality. I believe we create our own world, and here in Mass, all this energy, we are pure energy. So I think that, we can change anything. But I believe that these earth changes are things that are going to increase. I think unless we change overnight, that we come together in Mass and start praying, meditating, and visualizing a new earth, a new healed earth, that we start honoring everything, it's going to get worse. And I've been predicting a big, big earthquake in the South Pacific. We've already had the 7-point, what was it, just recently in Papua New Guinea?
It's pretty high.
Yeah, there's been a lot of strong earthquakes down there, so I'm predicting that. We're going to see more of these UFOs and large fireballs. They're going to increase, plus the meteors. You've probably heard about all these meteors and even asteroids that are coming pretty close to Earth. So we're going to see a lot more of those, too, in the coming months. Let's see. I feel that that there's going to be another Gulf oil platform explosion, another oil disaster. Seems like disasters hit in certain areas all the time, like New York had 9/11, and then it had Sandy, and, things go in threes. I don't know why, but they always do.
What do you think about this ISIS terrorist situation?
I think, now this is going to sound very crazy, and I was talking to another host about this, radio host, and I said, I think that area is a portal for beings coming in, these ETs or whatever you want to call them, dimensional beings, and I think that there are certain beings that are stirring up this area, that area has just been in chaos for so long, And I think that's what's going on. I think that, I don't know where that's going. It's pretty scary, isn't it? And how they're recruiting people, young people.
Well, and from the United States, they're recruiting people right here.
Yeah, and of course the media makes it worse.
Right.
If they would stop them on whatever, Twitter and everything else, they couldn't broadcast this, but nobody's stopping them. And that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, they're using our biggest social media platforms for recruitment tools.
Right, exactly. And why aren't they being shut down? People say freedom of speech, but that's even beyond freedom of speech. That's what they're doing to people and just mass killing people over there. And
and teaching young people to do the same, to follow. I don't I don't understand it. I really don't.
I don't either.
I don't understand the theory behind it. Again, the world's got enough. We've got enough problems without more of that. But boy, it's sad to see how many people just have no regard for life.
I know. And what is the end result? What do they want out of it? I don't understand that. I mean, you start killing everybody and making them believe what you want to believe. I don't know where they are going with that. I just, like you said, I'm so perplexed about it.
Well, and sometimes I believe that I've kind of taken the stance that there has to be bad and evil in the world for there to be good. Some people agree with that statement, some don't. But again, we have numbers of people that are just again, the brutality, the anger that they have with inside of them. I don't know. And
the hate.
The hatred.
Pure hate. Yeah.
I don't know, and that's where I sometimes wonder if that sign, if you will, that would appear for all of man and women and children and everybody to see, would maybe change some things. I don't know. Maybe it would take their, maybe at the least it would take their minds off their day-to-day life and at least try to put some effort into analyzing what it is or what it could be.
It seems like when there's a disaster or any kind of catastrophe, people come together.
Yeah.
They help each other.
Right.
And maybe, as we were talking, that's what is needed to change the world and the way we're thinking right now, to start honoring each other, that we all have a right to be here, no matter what color you are, what sexual preference you are. God made us all, everything. And we all have a right to be here, and so we need to honor life, all animals, everything. We just got to stop the insanity, the lack of gratitude and love. There, it sounds, maybe trite or something, kind of that. We use the word love, but I think that's so important in the world right now.
Yeah.
And I think prayers, too. I think we've gotten away from praying because I believe prayers can make a huge difference in the world.
Well, we've gotten away from faith in ourselves and faith in others. Betsey Lewis is our guest tonight on Fringe Radio. It's fun.
I like that, Pat.
It's fun. Yeah, I know. It's fun to talk about all these different things and interesting.
It is. There's so many mysteries in our world. Isn't it amazing? Our universe, the whole cosmos is just full of mysteries that we're just, maybe just a grain that we have just started to uncover. There's just, just so much out there. It's just mind-boggling.
I know, and it feels like there's just not enough time to get through it. All right, one of our listeners on the East Coast writes in, says, let's go dimensional. What are Betsey's views of possible time travel? Could some of what we're seeing our future could be our future selves?
Oh, great question. Thank you for that. I love time travel. I've I used to watch every kind of time travel movie. I've always believed in time travel, that time is just an illusion, that we're just getting into quantum physics right now. And, it's the shamans, our ancient ancestors, the indigenous people have always known that there's an unseen world that exists besides ours. And time, they've done so many experiments. Physicists have found that there's just a lot of strange anomalies in time and space. And one experiment is, if you want to create a time warp, simply walk up a flight of stairs. It's space, and if you want to create a time warp by walking up a flight of stairs, it turns out that time isn't consistent. It actually runs faster in higher places. And they've done some other experiments. They call this time dilation, which is really weird. It's because gravity warps time, and it's part of Einstein's theory. So, I don't understand it, totally, but I believe in it. And I've had things that have happened. I think when you get that feeling of deja vu,
yeah,
I think it's actually happened before, that you jumped into the future.
Yeah, well, I don't get that too often, but every now and then, and it only lasts for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, it does, a split second. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we get that. I think that's why many people, have what we call a premonition. We see something. There are people that have been warned not to take a flight somewhere, and it proved that it crashed. Many people, for 9/11, something told them not to go to work that day, or something happened.
Yeah.
How did they know that? Did they actually jump in the future? I think it might have been that this event was going to happen in the future. I had a dream the year before, and it was symbolic, but I didn't understand the symbology of it, and it was about 9/11. In the dream, I saw this it was a giant apple tree, and I saw the leaves wither, and the apples were falling from it, and suddenly the whole tree was pulled down, straight down into the ground and vanished. And it shook me up when I woke up. It was so real, and I didn't understand at the time it was telling me about 9/11, and of course, what is New York known as the Big Apple, right?
Yes, yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, it was symbolic, and a lot of our dreams are. So I think, if you keep a little journal beside your bed, it's amazing what your dreams will tell you. Sometimes they're lucid, and they tell you exactly what's going to happen, like my dreams of the earthquake in Los Angeles. And, I've had many, many dreams that are, actually what's going to happen, and some of them are very symbolic, too.
The 9/11, and maybe you could speak of this. I don't know, but wasn't right when 9/11 happened? Weren't some of these? I believe they're called like a random number generator of sorts. I'm drawing a blank, but wasn't there a couple of devices that just absolutely went off the charts right when that event was happening?
Yes, it was two satellites orbiting the Earth. It was GOES 8 and GOES 10.
Okay.
And that is the strange thing about it, that they recorded huge stress waves from these that they've never seen. It was mass human emotion. And they say the first surge topped out at nearly 50 units, which is nanoteslas. And it was just huge. And it happened when the second plane hit. So when we come together, either, in fear or anger, it affects everything in our world. It really does. For better, for positive, or negative.
Well, and again, that just goes to show you that people that don't believe that emotion and if you want to call it spirituality has no effect on things, if that immense human emotion, that outburst, could make a physical device change or could be registered on a physical device, there's definitely a lot more it's a lot more than we can see. There's a lot more to it.
We're pure energy beings. We forget that we're energy. Our neutrons, our atoms, and everything. We are a part of everything out there, and that's that's what I want people to get back to get back to nature and just realize that we're a part of everything. And so when we become a part of everything, we understand what's going to happen, especially with these earthquakes and everything. If we understand that the animals are connected and they warn us, they understand what's happening to the earth first. So many of these big earthquakes that have happened, the animals start heading for higher ground.
Right.
Like the one in 2004 in Indonesia. People were running out to where the water all backed out of these, coastal areas, and the animals, the elephants and the birds, were all heading up to higher ground, and they knew something big was going to happen. They knew.
Yeah. They all animals, I think, have some unique senses about them. I think they have some unique gifts. Maybe they can't communicate with us, in language like you and I talk.
Right.
But they have other things that make up for it.
Oh, you're so right. Just incredible intelligence. I see that in my own pets all the time, how intelligent they are and how they think. And, they're just amazing.
Yeah.
And, I've watched some of these videos on YouTube. There's one with Anna Brayton Beck, I believe is her name, and she's an animal communicator, and how she communicated with this leopard, this black leopard in South Africa that was so wild. And I hope you'll watch it because it's just incredible what she does. This animal was mistreated by a zoo, and when she went in, she calmed it down. She said the animal didn't like its name Diablo because it was dark, and that's not who he was, that he was more of a spiritual being, and they renamed him Spirit. And when his owners, realized that was going on, that it all changed. He became a better cat, and he roamed, and he wanted to find out more about his surroundings instead of staying in the cage. It's a beautiful story.
I'll have to take a look at that one. That's one I was not aware of.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. Yeah.
So where can our listeners get your books at, Betsey?
They're all on Amazon. Earth Energy, there's Angels, Aliens, and Prophecy, Communicating with the Other Side. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. True Experiences of a Psychic Medium, and Mystic, did I say Mystic Revelations of 13? Okay, yeah, and that one too. So, yeah, you can go to my website, BetseyLewis.com, and Betsey's spelled a little bit different, BetseyLewas.com.
And take a look. You have any new books in the works right now?
I do. I've got a couple of things. I'm probably going to take the summer off to do a little writing. I've been doing so many shows lately, and I think I'm just going to take a little time off and work on those books and then go back to my shows again in September.
Now, are you doing a radio show? You were doing a radio show yourself, correct?
Right. Yeah, Rainbow Vision. Yeah, I do that on Mondays now.
Okay.
I've got a lot of great people through the years. I started it in 2009. I can't believe it. Where does the time go, Pat?
I know. Well, same here. We started in 10 and
wow.
Started out with was it once a month, and then an hour once on Saturdays, and then every night of the week, and now 4 hours every Saturday, and I'm comfortable where it's at. But I love doing it. I do. I really do. I'm going to take a little bit of time off this summer, though, just to kind of, to spend time with family. I've got a ton of interviews that are all pre-recorded from different events and that, and I need to sit down and just need to put a couple of reels together. I could fill several weekends with off-air interviews, and of course the live ones are always the best, but this summer I'm going to take a little bit of time. I love doing the program, I really, really do, but sometimes you need a little bit of a breather. And with the exception of a week ago, every weekend I've been here. I've filled the calendar, and we're full all the way through. Was it through June or most of June? But I think I'm going to take July off and just need a little bit of a break.
Go fishing?
Yeah, just recharge with family.
Yeah, oh, that sounds great. Yeah, we all need it. You sometimes just get burnt out on something, and you just need that, little break for a while.
Yeah.
And you're a great host,
Well, thank you. I love doing it. I really do. I enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun. And what I learn, and the great people that I meet, like yourself, and just so many people. It is. It's a lot of fun, and it's you learn so much, and it does so much for your own life. Talking to different people and getting different opinions and different viewpoints on everything.
Yeah, it's great. I love it too. So many people that I've interviewed that are just amazing people, and some of the stories, the paranormal, the spiritual, the metaphysical, it's all wonderful.
Yeah, and even the crazies are fun too.
Well, some people think I am, so and that's fine. Everybody has an opinion, and that's fine. I honor whatever they want to think.
And and that's right. And the way I look at it, and I've had some guests on that have done, that have talked on some subjects that are a little bit out there. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, who knows? Maybe we're the crazy ones, and those subjects aren't so crazy. Maybe you just never know. You have to be really open about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But who knows who's crazy anymore?
But no, I'm going to take not the whole summer. I'm just going to take a few weekends off, and in the middle of summer, and just kind of regroup with family and stuff. And I love coming here, but it's just it would be nice to go out to dinner on a Saturday night.
Like a real person?
Like a real person, yeah. On Saturdays although it's kind of a good excuse, I do work around the house until about 3:30, and it's like, well, I got to jump in the shower and kind of get prepared for doing the program. But this summer I'm going to take a little bit of time off, and I had an author on before you, and I've actually started writing a couple of books, just fun stuff, nothing crazy, and I'd like to get those finished. And,
what are you writing about?
ETs and stuff
great.
like that. Just simple, fun, entertaining reads. Nothing, no significance behind anything. Just making it nice and simple and fun.
Oh, that's great, Pat. Good for you. Good. Well, I think writing is just really cathartic, isn't it? It's just such a great way to release and just be creative too.
Yeah, and that's what these are. I'm not putting a ton of research into them or anything like that. They're just going to be some fun, simple reads. And if I sell a couple dozen of them, I'd be happy. If I don't sell any, I can say that I did.
Right. Oh, good for you. And how's Carol?
Hopefully she'll come back on the show maybe in the fall.
Oh, great.
Just a lot of stuff. We had to do some things with our family that happened that were definitely changed things, but she'll be back. Hopefully she'll be back. I miss her being here, and get her back on in the fall would be great.
Oh yes, well tell her hello for me.
Oh, I will. I know we got a new granddaughter. We've got a 4-month. We got a 4-month-old. Our son had a little daughter. Sierra Kate is her name. She's 4 months, and she's got a personality, and she's just a ton of fun to be with. And Carol's been taking care of her during the daytime while my son's at work, and she's been keeping us really, really busy.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's great.
Well, thank you. Betsey, the 2 hours flew by.
It did.
And I'll let you go and get to bed. Well, not get to bed, but get some rest. I actually got to go back to work for my normal day job and finish up on a project tonight. And then working tomorrow.
Long day.
Yeah, well, I got to work all day tomorrow too. But hey, we gotta pay for, gotta put food on the table. But It was an honor to have you on, as it always is. And
Oh,
again, BetsyLewis.com. People can get
you.
your books there. And just love keeping in touch with you. And like to have you back on in the summertime again and talk more.
Oh, sounds great. I'd love to. Anytime.
Well, thank you for giving me a couple hours of your time. And God bless and take care and be safe.
Oh, you too. Same to you.
Okay, take care, Betsy. Good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.